Hey, it's Harry at the Texas Terrain Festival, and honored to be with one of my musical idols, Lyle Lovett. Thank you so much for being
Well,
here.
thanks for asking
You
me.
just had a great hour wowing the crowd with just all kinds of different stories. But one thing you mentioned I was hoping to follow up on, you can stop me anytime, is that there's a certain thrill in being on stage because things can go terribly wrong. I was just wondering if that's ever happened, and if you would feel okay about sharing with us an example of some time where things really went awry.
Well, things do go wrong. I've tripped on stage and broken my arm on stage before.
Kept on performing?
Kept on performing. Didn't play as much guitar in that particular show, but I kept thinking, if my arm's not broken, then it's going to really look bad if I stop. But so I just kept. It was on the very first, right after the first song of that set. It was in 1992. You have a way of remembering those sorts of things. But it was
Yeah.
1992 at the Schnitzer Theater in Portland, Oregon, and yeah, I just tripped over a monitor cabinet and broke my elbow. Gosh, we've broken the rotating stage at the Melody Tent in Hyannis one time.
It just stopped
It
rotating.
stopped rotating. We were so many of us in the large band, we were too heavy for it, and they came out and turned us by hand every few songs after that. Occasionally people will come up on stage and the audience thinks it's part of the show, and we negotiate, an exit for those types of folks. It's you just never know what's going to happen, and that it keeps it exciting.
Do you find you stay calm when there's a debacle like that, or do you panic inside, but just try to stay cool
Well,
externally?
it's kind of interesting when something happens like that. So I'm not sure I should say I enjoy it, but you have a way of incorporating it into the show, whatever it is that happens, and that's there's an excitement about that.
No, I am not from Texas, but for the rest of the country, there's just some almost fascination. And being here, I'm struck again with the native kind of kindness and gentility of the people, but also having seen some of the presentations, including Beto O'Rourke, also struck with the real sort of ferocious partisanship as well, in the sense of real kind of down and dirty passionate politics. Do we have that right? And how do you think of the sort of Texas political sensibility and that seems from to non-Texans so distinct?
In our world of politics, which is more divisive than I've experienced in my lifetime, I'd like to think that all of us who care about our planet and care about the people of our planet have common goals. The differences among us should be more about how we reach those goals than having different goals themselves. And we want to care for one another. We want people to have enough to eat. We want people to be able to go to the doctor when they need to go to the doctor. We want everyone to be able to go to school. We want people to have places to live and security in their lives. How we go about that should be the only debate. It is, things are divisive. I think the people of Texas are generous of spirit. I think people of Texas do care about one another and what happens to their fellow citizens. That's my take on Texas. It's a caring place, and it's a place where we are concerned about one another, and we have different ways of going about that. My job as a singer, songwriter, artist, to sound lofty, is not to tell people what to think, but to hope my work makes people feel something that might influence the way they think, that might help them figure out what they think. But it's not to tell people what to think, it's to make people feel. And I'm fortunate that I get to go around you know, trying to do that in my life. Politics, I mean, the most important thing we can do as people is to talk to one another, to listen to one another, and to be considerate of one another. And that's what I try to keep in mind as a performer. We should all have a voice. We should all feel safe in the world, and we should all want that for one another.
I mean, I do feel as a fan that your songs do put me in touch with the better angels of our nature. So it's very royal times, but we can only, put one foot in front of the other and hope. Lyle Lovett, thank you so much for being with us, for being at the festival, and it's an honor to meet you.
Thanks for coming to Texas, Harry.